Hello, everybody. I'm Ava, and today I'm looking at whether a vegetarian diet really increases energy levels throughout the day. And honestly, the answer is a little bit more complicated than I expected. Quick question. Have you ever eaten something really heavy like fast food or a big meal and then immediately felt like you needed a nap? Like you're full but have zero motivation to actually do anything? Well, that's what got me thinking about this topic in the first place. Because we always hear that certain diets, especially vegetarian or plant based diets, are supposed to give you more energy. But is that actually true? To give you some perspective, I was a vegetarian for about a year and a half, more specifically a pesco-lacto-ovo vegetarian, and that experience really gave me a new perspective on how food affects the body. I remember feeling like I had more energy and more motivation, but at the same time I wasn't fully sure what was actually causing that change. It wasn't until I stopped that I started questioning whether the differences came from the diet itself or from being more intentional about what I was eating. The classic vegetarian diet focuses on plant-based foods, excludes meat, poultry, and seafood. There are a few main types of vegetarian diet based on what animal products are still included, such as the lacto-ovo vegetarian, which includes dairy and eggs. The lacto-vegetarian includes dairy and no eggs. The ovo-vegetarian includes eggs, excludes dairy. And a vegan excludes all animal products. Some people follow more flexible versions, like pescatarians, which include fish, which is more similar to what I was doing, or flexitarian, which is mostly plant-based with meat here or there. However, for this project, I'm focusing solely on the classic vegetarian diet. So, my research question, does a vegetarian diet increase energy levels throughout the day? And based on what I found, the answer is not necessarily. Vegetarian diets don't automatically increase energy, but they can change how energy feels and how it's regulated. The research findings are actually pretty mixed. The first study I looked at is Food and Mood, a nutritional and mood assessment of a 30-day vegan space diet by Hunter in 2015. In this study, participants followed a vegan diet for 30 days, and researchers tracked their energy and fatigue levels over that time. At first, this seems like strong evidence because participants did report changes in energy. But the important detail is that those changes were mostly linked to weight loss and not the diet itself. This suggests that feeling more energized might come from overall health improvements rather than simply removing animal products. Now, this connects to a broader idea shown in the chart referenced on this slide. Even though it comes from animal nutrition, and it highlights something important. Energy depends on meeting specific nutrient requirements, not just following a certain type of diet. Moving on, another major factor is calorie intake. No matter what diet you follow, studies show that highly processed foods tend to give you a quick spike in energy, followed by crashes. In contrast, many plant-based diets emphasize whole foods, which can lead to more stable energy throughout the day. Not necessarily more energy, just more consistency. There's also the concept of satiety per calorie, which takes a more flexible approach to the diet. Instead of focusing on whether a diet is vegetarian or not, it looks at how filling and nutrient-dense foods are for the amount of energy they provide. The idea reinforces that energy is really about how well your body is being fueled, not just what category your diet falls into. Another study I looked at involves animal models and focuses on metabolism. Researchers found that plant-based protein diets improved markers like cholesterol and triglycerides, and even increased adiponectin levels, which are linked to energy regulations. At the end of the study, the plant-based diets showed better metabolic outcomes compared to the control diet, which was the animal product casein. The effect of the vegan protein-based diets on metabolic parameters by Chen in 2016 examined how long-term plant-based diets affect metabolism compared to an animal protein or casein diet using 36 male Wistar rats over 12 weeks. Rats were divided among 3 groups: a control group fed casein and 2 plant protein groups, soy and a soy gluten mix. Researchers measured blood lipids and adiponectin signaling in fat and muscle tissue. Results showed that rats on the plant-based diet had improved metabolic markers, including lower total cholesterol and triglycerides, even higher HDL in some cases, and an increase in adiponectin and receptor expression. Overall, In this study, plant proteins were linked to more favorable lipid metabolism and energy regulation compared to the protein caused by the casein. So, why do people feel more energized? Another important factor is behavior. When people switch diets, they often start eating more whole and dense foods and excluding processed foods, hoping to feel better overall. So the increase in energy might actually come from the improved diet quality, not the vegetarian label itself. There's also a side to this that's easy to overlook. In real life, if a diet isn't well planned, it can actually just make you feel worse. For example, relying on a limited variety of foods can reduce nutrient density and make meals less satisfying. Eating too many simple carbs without enough protein or fats can lead to low satiety, frequent hunger, and inconsistent focus, stated by the NHS in 2022. So, instead of stable energy, you get the cycle of snacking and energy fluctuations. Overall, the key takeaways are that the vegetarian diet does not automatically increase energy. This may improve energy stability and regulation, but the benefit depends on the nutrient intake and overall diet quality. Meeting nutrient needs matter than more of the diet themselves. So in conclusion, vegetarian diets don't directly increase energy levels, but they can support more consistent and stable energy when they are balanced and well planned. Thank you everybody for listening. Here are my sources.